We have breaking news coming out of Ukraine and out of Russia. We have a Ukrainian official is now saying that Russian troops, I repeat, Russian troops have taken over a military airport in Crimea in the Ukraine. These troops did not have any identification on them, but they are clearly pro-Russian forces, as there are Russian fighter jets flying overhead along the Ukrainian-Russian border, protecting them, and Putin has 150,000 troops and tanks headed toward the borders of Ukraine for military exercises. Let me give you a report right here coming out of Ukraine. This first report doesn't fully identify it, but we have a CBS report that says truly it is special ops of Russian troops. Here we go.
In the early hours of Friday morning, they arrived and took control of 2 airports in the Ukrainian region of Crimea. Here at Simferopol Airport, the men carrying assault rifles and machine guns can be seen patrolling the airport grounds. They move freely in the control tower, but appear to be allowing the airport to operate as normal. One of the men in control is called Vladimir. He says he's a volunteer helping the People's Militia of Crimea.
So see, what's happened is they've brought in some Russian special ops and have already got some militant guerrillas that live in that area. Here's the deal. When you look at Ukraine, it's a split nation. It's half of the nation is Ukrainian with a mixture of different groups, and the other half is very pro-Russian, especially over there by the Russian border. And Crimea is definitely a city that is pro-Russian all the way. So when the government coup took place and President Yanukovych was removed from power, these cities along the Russian border immediately, which are primarily Russian-speaking, immediately said, look, we're not going to fall underneath that other regime. It's unstable. We want to remain peaceful and stable. Let's side with Putin right now. Now, Putin waited till the Olympics was over and immediately sent 150,000 ready combat soldiers, tanks, heavy artillery, and fighter jets. The fighter jets yesterday were patrolling, flying over top the border between Ukraine and Russia, completely creating a cloud cover of protection, overhead protection. Then this morning, unidentified soldiers came into the airports and began to take things over in a peaceably manner. Full control. And the airport's continuing to function. Let me read to you what's happening. Here's a CBS report. I want to thank Troy, North Carolina, for this report. But in Kiev, Ukraine, reports are that Russian military are blocking a Ukrainian military airport in the Black Sea port in Crimea, near the Russian naval base, while unidentified armed men were patrolling another airport serving the regional capital. Ukraine's new interior minister is saying today, no violence has been reported. The flights continue to operate at the airport serving the people in the regional capital, and it is not immediately clear whether the airport, owned by the Ukrainian defense military, was open, but there are no scheduled services to the facility. The Russian Foreign Ministry refused to comment, while a spokesman for the Russian Defense Ministry also had no comment. So what's happened is, now here's another report. I want to thank James McKay for this report. Now this is out of, the first one I just read, that was CBS News. This last one I just played for you, that report was Reuters. Now here's what Deb Kafal is saying out of Israel. Pro-Moscow coup underway in Crimea. Russian fighter jets on the border on combat alert, and Kiev deploys security forces. Those are all true facts based on these other two reports. The question is this a secret op takeover of this portion of Ukraine by Vladimir Putin, or is it an internal guerrilla uprising to maintain civility in the Ukraine with the help of Russians' overhead presence along the border. I believe it's Putin. I totally believe it's Putin. It's a secret special op invasion in a Russian held ethnic territory. Sprinkled in with these Russian special ops are volunteer militia who are kissing cousins, if you will, to the Russians and are going to secure that part of the world. Now, the Russian Defense Ministry announced that the fighter jets stood on combat alert along its western borders with Ukraine, and Moscow repeated its commitment to protect Russian-speaking elements in the Crimea Peninsula. Earlier, armed men carried out a pro-Russian coup in the Crimea capital there in Ukraine by seizing government and parliamentary buildings and hoisting Russian flags over those government buildings. Now that took place earlier yesterday morning. Now this morning they have seized both airports. One was a military airport of Ukraine. So the Ukrainian government now that is just newly forming has just lost one of its military airport bases to the Russians. Very softly, very quietly, but very effectively. Now, what does this mean? Is the bear rising? Is the bear of the north rising? Look what Putin has done. First of all, look in the book of Ezekiel with me for one moment. In Ezekiel 38, let's read 5 or 6 verses, and then let me tell you exactly what Putin has done in the last 18 months. In Ezekiel 38, the Bible said, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him." Now that is, Magog is basically Russia, that entire region, and Gog would be the leader of Russia. Could that be Putin? I don't know. Let's wait. "And say, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I'm against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses, horsemen, all them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Persia," that's Iran, "Ethiopia," we know who they are, and Libya, we know who they are, "with them, all of them with shields and helmets. Gomer," again, Gomer is another band of fighters out of the Russia. It's an old Russian tribal group out of Russia, southern Russia, and all of his bands, and the house of Tagarma, that is Turkey. That's some fighters out of the southern part of Turkey. "Of the north quarters, and all of his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company. They are assembled unto thee. Be thou guard unto them." There's going to be a great battle of Gog and Magog. Now, look what Putin has done. Since he has been reinstated as president, he has pushed Obama back 4 times. He canceled his first meeting with Obama in Washington when he first became president again. Confronted Obama at the G20 down in Venezuela. And while he was sitting there meeting with him, he told him, "I've got 2 MiGs flying over Sarah Palin's house in Alaska right now. We're everywhere." Stood against Obama and the Muslim Brotherhood that was trying to overtake President Assad of Syria. It was Putin that stood with Assad, and even though Obama had drew the red line that if any chemical weapons are used by Assad, he must go, he's coming down, it is Putin that said, no, he's not, and he hasn't. Now it is Putin who went and signed a deal with the Palestinian people that he is going to drill the oil off the coast of Gaza and give them a piece of the pie when it's not Gaza and the Palestinians' oil, it is Israeli oil. It is Putin who signed a deal with General el-Sisi after the Americans snubbed their nose at the new military government in Egypt after the overthrow of Mohammed Morsi. Obama was clearly in the tank with Mohammed Morsi. So was Hillary Rodham Clinton and the Clinton regime. Obama was pushed back by Putin, who said, no, we'll give them money, we'll support Egypt, and we will build a military naval base on the coast of Egypt in the Mediterranean. Now, so what does that mean? Russia is now coming. They're going to be completely surrounding Israel. It is Russia who stood up against America when it came to Iran. It is Putin who said, I will side with Iran against America and Israel as it relates to Iranians. Folks, what you're seeing here is the bear of the north is on the move. Keep an eye on biblical prophecy and how this whole thing plays out, including the peace covenant that they're working on in the Middle East between Israel and the Palestinians. What about the Iranians enriching their uranium to build a nuclear bomb? How does America play a role in this? Or do we just drift softly away as the world stage changes? The Middle East, peace in Jerusalem, but it's a whole world situation developing in Europe and the Middle East. Keep an eye on all of it. Are you serious? Something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Jesus Christ.